to be sharing our story and testimony today. We have a very short time, so we crave your indulgence as we run through our story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Mrs. Anthonia Akangbe. Yes, the 3 A's. Prior to 12th of August, I was Miss Ejo Amaka Anthonia, a Delta Igbo girl from the southeastern part of Nigeria.
And I'm Victor Tolulope Akangbe from Ogbomoso, the Yoruba-speaking tribe from the southwestern part of Nigeria. We're far apart.
2014-2015, I was out of the university and I've been working for about 4 years. I entered a transition phase in my life that God was calling me into a deeper walk with Him. He took me from a place of self-dependence to a place of total reliance on Him. One of the things I learned and committed to do in this phase was to wait for His choice of a spouse. It really wasn't easy letting go and relying on Him, but I was determined and hungry for much more. I was hungry for Him.
So I grew up with both my parents and were ministers, so you can call me a pastor's kid. And I thank God for the salvation of my soul. I came to know God quite at an early age, and that really helped me navigate through my teenage years. And you know, my dad at the time was the chairman of the marriage committee panel, and which meant that he had to see intending couples every week, you know, mentor them and guide them. And you know, this childhood memories really formed in me, and it laid a foundation for having a godly marriage. And that's really helped me, and it saw me through until I met my wife. She was the only relationship I've ever been to.
Wow.
Only single, as a single. Yeah.
Mid-2017, the church I was attending at the time had asked the singles to start praying about marriage. Although I'd been praying about this for a while, I became more intentional and deliberate about my prayer points. In September 2017, I was meant to travel to Germany for a business training. My colleagues who had applied with me at the same time all got their visas, but for some weird reason, even the embassy could not explain. My visa didn't come out. And so the visa only came out after the training, so I couldn't go. My boss and I decided that I would look for another slot in the next year. This was around April.
So I returned to Nigeria in 2017, December 2017, from Russia, where I had my master's degree. And then I got on a project immediately with a company in Lagos, and then we were to provide welfare services for Nigerians who will be attending the World Cup in 2018. And February 2018, I received an invitation to be a part of the United Nations 62nd session on the status of Committee of Women, because I'm a global public policy analyst, and for whatever reason, my visa was denied. And you know, it wasn't the first time going to the US, but I applied from Nigeria, and then the visa got denied, and then that affected some of my plans, because I was to travel straight to Moscow from the US and then continue the World Cup preparations. But then I had to instead leave from Lagos to Moscow, and then it was on that trip that I had a long layover at Istanbul International Airport.
In February 2018, I started the preparation for my trip to Germany. Actually, I was meant to travel via KLM, which is what I normally do. But this time around, my boss booked my flight and booked me on Turkish Air, which meant that I would have a layover at Istanbul Airport. After almost 4 weeks in Germany, I was set to return to Nigeria on the 5th of May 2018. At Istanbul, I met a friend's wife and we got talking. On our way to our boarding gates, I saw another friend. For the sake of this discussion, I call him Fred, who was returning from the UK. I was so excited to meet him after such a long time. I greeted him, and then he introduced me to someone who he had met at the airport that morning while he was waiting to board. This new friend of his gave me his card and said I could email him, although I was wondering why he wanted me to email him since we just met and we hadn't really said anything. But I was polite and I said, okay. I took his card and I hurried off. This new friend was Victor.
Oh.
So, that day, I arrived in Istanbul in the morning of Saturday, 5th of May 2018. And then I decided to just take a walk around, and on my way I saw someone, an African, but for me he looked like a Nigerian, and then I saw him in a cafe at the airport, and then I felt the prompting to connect with him, but at first I was a bit, I like to stay on my own, but he kept coming, connect. And then we started talking, we exchanged cards, and after a while I also discovered that he was also going to Nigeria, and that means we'll be on the same flight. And then we decided to go check where we were boarding from. And while we were going to check where we were boarding from, I saw two ladies from afar, because I use glasses. I might not be so very sharp in seeing people from afar, so I'm very short-sighted. But I saw two ladies coming, walking towards us from afar, and then the Holy Spirit prompted me to connect with one of the ladies, that one of them is single. And I was like, why would I do that? So I held back, and I can't just meet a total stranger and then talk to them. So it was a bit strange, but as I drew closer, I noticed the other lady with Anthonia is pregnant and had a wedding ring on. So it was so clear the instruction I had in my spirit. So since then, and then the Holy Spirit, asked me to connect, but I gave her my card instead. And the guy, just did introduction. Oh, meet my newest friend, and Victor. And then immediately I just gave her my card.
On the airport shuttle, I saw Victor standing alone outside the bus. I was already in the bus. He was standing alone outside the bus, looking at his phone. And I was wondering to myself what he was doing standing out there instead of getting on the bus like everybody else. He wasn't in a hurry. He wasn't bothered if every other person was getting on the bus. He was just calm. And later he joined us on the bus. But what I failed to realize at that point was that God had singled him out to show him to me as my husband.
Wow.
On the plane, I saw him again on my way to the restroom. We exchanged smiles, and for the first time I thought to myself that he really has a beautiful smile. Finally, we arrived in Nigeria, and I saw him again at the exit. I went up to him to check if he was fine, he had gotten a ride to get home. And then I left for home myself and forgot about the young man until a later date. So
the first time I met him, I had an instruction again to get a phone number. I was like, no, I wouldn't do that. The second time was when she was going to use the restroom, and then she waved from across and asked if any of my number was on WhatsApp, and then I told her, oh, one of my numbers is on WhatsApp. Again, I don't get a number like straight away, but I said, no, I can't do that. It's open. Everybody would say I'm getting the lady's number. The third time again, when she approached me while she was leaving the airport in Lagos, she asked if anyone is coming to pick me. I said, yeah, I'm waiting for a few persons. Again, I had get a number. So I disobeyed that instruction again. I said, no, I gave her my card already, let her reach out to me. So I left it, and I was hoping that night that she would reach out. Nothing came. 1 week, 2 weeks, no call, nothing. So I now called a friend, the guy we had met at the airport, just to greet him. Even though my intention was to ask the guy for a number, but I could not do that. So I just said, oh, anytime he hears from her, she just send my regards, just that. But I knew that guy would not do anything. So the second to third week, I just went back to God. I asked for forgiveness for disobeying His instruction, and I said, God, if it's in Your will that we should be together, make our paths cross again. And I left the prayer at that.
A few days after I met Victor, I remembered to call him, but then I forgot again. I continued to procrastinate, and I forgot until after 3 weeks plus, when I felt the strong leading to pray. Right after praying, I called him. I remembered to call him, and I did call him. But immediately I started introducing myself. He got really excited and cut me off. I was wondering why he was so excited and why he remembered me so quickly. That got my attention.
Yeah.
We got talking. We talked on the phone for hours during the first week we reconnected. We talked for so long about our values, our interests, and aspirations, and with such familiarity that we felt we had known each other for years.
So I had a business trip to Moscow the following week. We just reconnected. So she called on the 1st of June 2018, and then immediately she called. I was so excited, and that really sparked an interest. I'm like, what's happening here? And then, we decided to meet in person. I initiated that call, and we met a day before leaving Lagos for Moscow. That was before 10th of June. And then I received a call later that day from one of our business partners that he said he's pulling out. And that news got me a bit devastated. But in the midst of it, I saw myself like in the midst of an ocean, and then you are there, there's peace, you're just calm. That was the way I felt with her, knowing that I was meeting her. And when she walked into the restaurant, I just knew she's a person. I had that peace. Somehow I was able to mumble up some words. I told her about my journey, what God has told me about my purpose and all that. And then I asked if she would join me on a journey to purpose and knowing God. I just said, more like asking her out. And immediately she said yes.
Oh.
Naturally, I like to plan, organize, and take the lead. But with Victor, I told God I wouldn't do anything he had not asked him to do. He made our paths to cross, so I would trust him to work it out if it's his will. After 1 week of talking on the phone, I was really pleased when Victor initiated our first meeting. On that day, he asked me to take a walk with him and shared with me the things God had revealed to him about himself and his plans. I don't know, but my answer was yes, without fear and doubt, and I was really happy.
So I left for Russia, a very happy man, and then we continued to talk throughout my time I was away. And then when I got back immediately, I thought I want us to get married, and immediately I met with a family, I met with a church, I met with the leadership of the church, and then we started the committee planning and the counseling class.
You see, we are not just telling you this story because we like to take your time and we like to talk. But we want you to journey with us a little into the goodness and faithfulness of God if you put your trust in Him. He brought two people from two different backgrounds, tribes, locations, and personality. We have two different personalities. Into a divine purpose in marriage. You would ask, how did I know Victor was the one? God, in His divine wisdom, had begun to teach me what qualities my husband should and would have. Even the silly little desires in my heart, He listened and He granted. I will mention a few of them. I like dimples. Victor has dimples. I wanted to marry a man on my birthday. I wanted to get married on my birthday. Although I'd never told Victor, one day we were discussing and he just said to me, I would like to get married to you on your birthday.
Wow.
Although that didn't happen because of family and all that happened.
Couldn't agree on the dates.
I wanted a man who had a heart for the nation and for people. One who was humble and respectful, lover of music, and one who would pray over me. Sometimes I come home, I'm tired, I just go to bed, and Victor is there praying over me as I sleep. A man who is willing to let me be who God wants me to be. And yes, I wanted someone who would let me bear all my names to start with an A, and Victor's last name starts with an A. So that's amazing.
You see, one of my greatest challenges in holding on to the essence of my calling and purpose in life is, regardless of what mentors, pastors, because I'm a pastor's kid. You have ministers, people who look up to you, and then they expect certain things from you, and then they expect you to live up to certain thing, some expectations and all that. One of my greatest challenges in keeping up to all of this, regardless of what they say or their preference of who my wife should be. I had quite a lot of ministers who talk to my parents, who had this particular lady. I had loads of recommendations. There was over 10 of them from friends, and that should be your wife. She's this, she's that. And then in my heart, I knew that wasn't it. I kept on to looking unto God for the courage of conviction and clarity, applying counsel with great discretion, and passionately rediscovering myself and my identity, and constantly repositioning myself to what God is doing relative to me in my generation. And then I really thank God, because Anthonia and I believe strongly in a godly marriage. We believe our marriage was God ordained, and since we were joined in holy matrimony, it has been God sustained. looking back at the journey so far, we just over 6 months in marriage. We know that it could only have been God. It has been both a tool that God has created and used to challenge and shape us, and also a gift that He has given to encourage and to refresh us. While it has added a profoundly meaningful dimensions to our lives, it did not satisfy our deepest human needs. It did not cure our inner loneliness. It did not heal our brokenness. Only God fulfilled our void in our lives, and we've allowed Him to do just that. Thank you very much.